Hello, this is Dan the Furniture Repairman. Today we have a video on how to cut a steep angle on your table saw above the 45 degrees that it would normally cut. This is the angle we got to mimic. We have a piece we made just like this. This piece is delaminating and coming apart, so we're going to make another one. So how do you cut an angle that's 60 degrees? When your table saw only lets you cut 45, and then right here you can see they cut past it in the factory, and we're going to do a very similar thing. So as I slide my piece up to my blade, you can see it hits hard on the bottom, but it's loose on the top, and that's as much as my table saw blade will tilt. So I need to accommodate that somehow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the piece to the blade. So as I pull this tight, you can look in and you can see again, it's tight at the top, it's loose at the bottom. I'm not going to quite hit that angle. I think that angle was 50 degrees or 57 degrees or something like that, and I can't achieve it. So what I'm going to do is pull my fence right up to my piece, just like that, and then I'm going to take a block of wood, and rather than change the blade height, I'm going to change the angle of the piece. So I'm going to slide this 2x4 in just like that, and then I'm going to check, and I'm going to see I'm closer, but I'm not quite there. You can see I still have a little bit of a gap right there at the bottom, so I'm going to adjust my 2x4 in until I get a good where the piece is touching the blade equally all the way across. Then I know I have the correct angle, and that's the way you could do it. Now normally you could take a piece and turn it on its side, but here we can't do that. So I'm measuring in how much the 2x4 goes in, so that I can transfer that to my other piece. Now on the right, you can see the piece that we made. We templated it, made the exact piece, and now what we have to do is cut that angle on there. So it's not that hard of a job to do. What we're going to do now is the hardest thing is making sure that you cut the piece the correct way. Don't get confused and get it flipped over. So I tend to put things right next to each other, and then I'm going to bring my piece right over just like this, the same way, so I know that part's going to go against the blade. That's what I want, and I'm going to flip it end to end, okay? So I know that the part that's going against the blade is still going to go against the blade. After that, I'm putting down some blue tape on my piece. This is the back side of the piece, and I'm going to put some blue tape down on my 2x4 here, and you know what I'm doing. I'm going to super glue these two together so that I could take them apart. You could use double-sided tape, and I have that in my shop, but I always seem to have handy the instant glue and the blue tape on hand. Now I'm measuring my piece. I'm setting at the same setback that the other one was on, and you just make a quick line. You're going to draw your line, and I know this stuff is kind of makes sense on its own, but you know, we're going to go through all of it just so everybody can see how to do it. And here goes my super glue, and we use this technique quite a bit in our shop to hold pieces and stuff like that. So super glue on this side. The one thing we have found is don't leave the super glue like that. Spread it around a little bit. We have found when we leave it like that, we clamp our pieces together, that it tends to push through the blue tape and into the piece on the other side. Makes a little bit more of a mess than we want to clean up. Now I'm spraying some accelerator on the 2x4 side so it sticks together very quickly. And I'm going to flip it over and find my line right there on the side that I drew. And I'm going to line up on that corner first. And I'm just going to stick it right together. Just like that. Now, I don't like to push down and hold things for 2 or 3 minutes. I'm just going to put a couple of these little squeeze clamps right there. Hold it in position for a couple minutes. I want this nice and tight. Mostly because I'm running it through the saw and I don't want any mishaps. Now you have to retract your blade because this is going to be a plunge cut, and we're going to raise the blade up into the piece. Now I have my piece in position, and then I have my helper. You can see right there by my elbow what we do, and he's cranking the blade up, and once it comes through the top, I'm just sliding it right there. Once you're set up correctly, it's not that difficult of a job at all, and you just slide it right down. The table saw will make a beautiful cut. If you copied all your angles, everything will be perfect. Now I'm going to flip over my piece, and we're going to pop off this 2x4. So we got to pop that off. There we go. That's going to come off pretty easy. And then we're going to take off all of our blue tape. And now I got to finish my cut. Just a little cross cut right here. right with the same angle, making sure I'm not cutting through the top of the piece. This is the bottom of the piece. So I'm gonna cut it off just like that. Easy peasy, right? No big deal here. You just follow the steps. Now I've got my angle, and we router templated it, and you can see we cut these little circle parts out, and they got cut out perfect just like that. I'm very happy with the way this is looking. But I also have these little open spots where I cut past. They left them open in the factory, which is good enough. But in my shop, good enough isn't good enough. What we do is we do better than that. So we're going to fill that in. I don't want that just hanging open forever. I'm just going to take an extra 10 minutes. I'm going to fill that in with a little chip of wood just like that. Just make sure it's the same size. We're going to pop it right in there. And this is going to keep any problems from happening. We don't want any delamination or anything. This is the bottom of the piece. Nobody's going to see it. It's no big deal to leave it that way. But like I said, you know, our craftsmanship goes to our standards. Okay, so we're going to put that there, and then grab our accelerator. And then you're just going to give it a quick spray. And cutting past is a very common thing in carpentry and woodworking and furniture making, and it's also very common if it's not visible to leave it, or if you want to, then you're gonna fill it in and make it disappear. So it's on the bottom. We're not putting a tremendous amount of work in it. We're adding a little bit more glue here to seep into the cracks, just like that. And then once we have it, we're gonna let it set up. I got a little 80 grit sandpaper on a block here, and then 2-3 minutes of sanding. I'm gonna sand it nice and flat. Get it to disappear, and like I said, 30 years later, somebody's going to flip this over. They're not going to see a big gouge there. They're going to see I biscuited that in and made it disappear. For what that's worth, probably that and a ticket gets you on the bus. This is the top. This is the piece that we made it for, and it came out beautiful. This is Dan, the furniture repairman. You have any questions, comments, want to call me a shoemaker, go ahead, put it put it below, and I'll try to answer you. Please remember to like and subscribe. Y'all have a good day.